Hello, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today's guest is the Alderwoman from the 27th Ward, City of St. Louis, Pam Boyd, today on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. I am Bernie Hayes. My Alderwoman is from the 27th Ward. Pam Boyd is my guest. Alderwoman Boyd, how are you?
How you doing, Bernie?
Oh, so nice to see you. The 27th Ward.
Yes, sir.
What are your boundaries?
My boundaries are we're right at Jennings at West Florissant and Acme. We go all the way over to Goodfellow and Saloma. Then we veer over to Berger and Union, and then Riverview and McLaren.
Wow, that's a large territory.
Yes, it is.
It's wonderful, and very, very wonderful territory, historic territory in the city of St. Louis also. Well, what are your missions? What's the mission of the 27th Ward? What are your guides? What's your vision?
Our mission is empowering the community to have a voice, to ensure that people understand that people live in that community not because they have to, it's because they love the community. They love the North Point people love the stability, the home ownership, and they Warner Park and Mark Twain and Baton, they're invested in those communities. And Bernie, when you have people that's been living there for 50 and 60 years, they don't plan on going anywhere. They just want what's best for their community and what's due to them.
You do have a supermarket there in your community, right?
No.
You do not?
No, and that's what we're working on. We have developers that we have started conversation with to bring in a grocery store in our community. We have brought in senior housing, assisted housing in our community. We're looking to build homes. We have two developers that are looking to bring homes into our community, and they have literally adopted 3 to 4 blocks to start building up new homes and make them handicap accessible.
Oh, wonderful. What about health care for the 27th Ward?
We have Care St. Louis Health in our community. That's a federally funded clinic, and they're at Riverview and Horny.
Okay. There's so much going on there at 27th Ward. But now they're talking about ward reduction. For the past 10 years, they've been talking about cutting the wards from 28 to 14. Do you have an opinion on that?
I was against it when they first started the conversation because our communities are the ones that suffer the utmost in regards to community services. And so if you wind up taking an older person that has 12,000 people to focus on, and when you go to 14 wards, they will have 20,000 people to focus on. That's a big challenge. And then you have to look at, we've always had problems with city services, picking up trash, forestry, cutting trees. And so now that's a double problem for that person. And my question is, how can you expect them or that community to succeed if you haven't given them anything to work to rebuild their communities? And I think everybody is real aware, and I have said it since I was elected as alderperson, the system took the dollars from us, and then they came back and said, oh, you got a bad community and you need to do something about it. Well, how can we do something about it if we don't have the dollars to help rebuild it?
Does your constituents, they support you? Are they coming out and voting and so forth?
That's a big challenge. My constituents support me, but I think, and that's what I've been doing, even when I was the committee woman and worked with Alderman Greg Carter, I always try to educate our community, because I feel that if they're not educated to know why they're voting or how their vote impacts them as a community, they won't vote. And so I've been really pushing to educate. We have a voter empowerment committee. So now we have the phone bank where we have seniors that have signed up, and they are calling, they want to call residents to tell them what's on the ballot, what the issues are in Washington, what's the issues down at City Hall, what's the issues in state. So when elections come up, they can be empowered to make the right decisions. And so I'm at a point, I don't care what you vote on, I just want you to vote, because that's like putting money in the bank.
Sure.
And that's the logic I give them. Every time you vote, you're adding dollars to our bank account.
Even when Greg was the alderperson before he was killed, you were very active in the community. I mean, you were every place.
Yeah, I was.
You were doing everything.
Yeah.
And,
it was him and I. For 20 years, it was him and I.
Yeah, I know. And you did so much. What's the importance now of getting the people to vote, to register to vote? What's the importance? Do they realize the power that they have?
You know what? And I applaud my seniors, because they know the struggles that they went through to have the power to vote. But I feel that the youth don't understand the challenges that have been put before them. And yeah, I agree, they have been sold a bill of goods on a lot of issues. And so I try to make sure that I tell them the truth. A lot of times they don't want to hear the truth. But sometimes you have to be frank with them and let them know this is because of this is impacting you. And so I know the justice system hasn't been fair to us as a community. And then I know that our youth have not been educated on how to get what they need in the community. Tearing up properties and burning stuff down, that's not the answer, because we're the ones that suffer. It's not about the people in the other areas, it's about our area.
Right. You're the chairperson of the Aldermanic Black Caucus, is that right?
Yes.
What's your focus?
Our focus is, again, educating and empowering the community, because for so long, we keep saying we haven't been treated fair, but nobody's educating people on how we haven't been treated fair and how to improve those relationships to get our voices heard.
Alderwoman Boyd, I'm going to kind of vary off the topic for a minute, because I know that all the years that you were in the 27th Ward, you've been a very religious person. You've been a very conscious person of your faith. Tell us how your faith drives you.
Every day. Every day. When I get up in the morning, before I go to meetings, I pray. And I had somebody tell me that 15 years ago, and they were like, Pam, you can't take on the world by yourself, and you need help. And so God is the one that's going to give you that help. And they tell me, pray when you get up, pray before you go to meetings, pray when you leave. So, you know, I'm not Muslim and none of that, but I do honor God, and I know He's the force that'll keep me where I need to be.
You know, you're one of the very few people, and this is terrible to say, that when they call you at your office, you answer your phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, so there are 27 28 wards in the city of St. Louis, and you're one of the very few that they can call you direct.
Yeah.
How can one reach you?
My cell, I usually give people my cell number is 314-229-6567. They can call the office and leave a message at 314-622-3287, and just let them know that they want to leave a message for me and what the issue is, and my secretary, Erica Strong, would be honored to get back with them.
Do you have an email address?
boydp@stlouis-mo.gov.
That's wonderful. You've been so active and so long. What are your priorities, personal priorities?
My personal priorities, and Bernie, I'm glad you asked, because I had to take a reevaluation of myself, because as my husband told me, I was trying to fix the whole world, and I can't fix the whole world. And so I figure if I could fix one block at a time and rebuild in our community, I think that we'll accomplish a bigger goal.
Have you faced a lot of gender discrimination, not only as a woman, but as a black woman?
That's funny you say that, because I have people that say, you know, you shouldn't do that because this person is black or they're a woman, and I'll give it right back to them. I said, well, I don't think you realize it, but I'm black and I'm a woman too. And I've dealt with so much resistance in the corporate world, and the political world, because they felt for so long that we as women did not know what we were talking about.
Tell us a little bit about your history. You grew up in St. Louis, right?
Yes, sir. I grew up in St. Louis. My family raised me on Taylor Avenue. I went to Simmons Branch, Turner, Sumner High School, and then I wind up getting married, and I have 3 beautiful children, 9 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild. And I always instilled in my kids to strive for more. You know, I told them no is not in our vocabulary, and so you have to push to get better.
Our guest is Alderwoman from the 27th Ward, Pam Boyd, and we'll be right back after this.
Will you help New Life Evangelistic Center get back into 1411 Locust Street? Your tax-deductible gifts are urgently needed at this particular time, and there's many different ways that we're working to get back in that facility. One of the ways is to continue to inform the community through the Bernie Hayes Show and other programs. And if you haven't supported the Bernie Hayes Show and the work of New Life Evangelistic Center, please do it now. It's urgently needed. Your gifts are deeply appreciated. So many homeless people are waiting to get back into 1411 Locust, and so many others need the direct help that New Life is trying to provide at this time, but is facing some real financial needs. And that's why your gift is very, very important. And to express our thankfulness for all of you that are sharing your gifts, we want to send you this special Bernie Hayes cup. It's my wife's favorite drinking cup. She loves to drink out of this cup, and this is actually the only coffee cup she wants to use is the Bernie Hayes cup. There's something very special about this cup, and we'll send it to each one of you that share a gift of $25 or more with the New Life Evangelistic Center and ask for your Bernie Hayes cup. It's P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166. Your gift will not only help us get back into the 1411 Locust building, but will help our first responders that are on the streets, the first responders that we have out there day after day, night after night. It will help keep our women and children in our safe houses, continue to keep our training programs open, our worldwide mission work, whether it's in India, Haiti, Africa, so many different things the New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. In addition to NLEC TV, tell your family and friends about it. Put it on your phone. Put on your get that phone app on all your friends' phones so that they can all see the Bernie Hayes Show or go to 24.2. It's your prayers and gifts that make all of this possible. I thank God for those of you who continue to pray for the reopening of 1411 Locust and the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. There's so many obstacles we're facing as we try to help the homeless, but we're going to continue to give it to God. We're going to continue to pray. We're going to continue to work, but we need you to partner with us. So again, it's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, that's 63166. I thank God for each one of you that are praying, caring, and sharing.
And welcome back. I'm Bernie Hayes. My guest is the alderperson from the 27th Ward, City of St. Louis, Pam Boyd. Alderwoman Boyd, the Homer G. Phillips Hospital has been, the name Homer G. Phillips has been subject of controversy here of late because of the facility that's being built on the north side. I think it only has 4 beds, so forth. Could you tell us the history of that and the impact that you might have?
Well, I think my concern, because I've been doing a lot of research on it, and my concern is, and I hear people loud and clear, they don't want the name to be forgotten. And I don't think it has, because they have a senior citizen complex in the Ville neighborhood that does say Homer G. Phillips. But as I researched, I found out, because my first question was, so how are you going to put a hospital, and it's few beds, there's 3 beds. And so my understanding is they have to go through the process, and for a year, they have to prove that a hospital is needed in that community. And then they come back and reapply, and they get a larger capacity for beds. And then when it came to the name, I was told that they're not going to call it Homer G. Phillips, the hospital. They're going to call it Homer G. Phillips Memorial. And so they were looking at ensuring that they honored Homer G. Phillips, but they wanted it to be clear that memorial will be a part in that. So I've been doing a lot of research on it to try to get an understanding, because I understand people don't want to feel like they're constantly losing the anchors in the communities that hospitals and organizations were built on. But we have to look at where the need is and what's the need in the communities. In that area, it's a high need for hospital because they don't have a hospital close, and the only one they have close is Barnes Jewish Hospital. So, I'm still learning about it and I'm still investigating. But it was interesting when I heard they said, well, we're looking to call it Homer G. Phillips Memorial Hospital and not just Homer G. Phillips, because I think they didn't want to take away from what was down there in the Ville.
Sure. So you're suggesting that the people who don't know what's going on with the hospital or have heard rumors and so forth, do a little research, is that correct?
Yeah, and I think that's a big part. And people, to me, social media is what it is. I just told somebody this morning, so people need to look at Facebook and Twitter as social media. And then so it's going to put what they want you to hear. You have some people that's going to make sure people get the whole story, but you have some people are going to put just what they think you need to hear for you to go with their narrative. So I'm pleading with people, please educate yourself. That's all I'm asking. And as a community, we have to educate ourselves even more because of the social media, the Facebook, even the news, the 5, 4, and 2s and 11s.
Yeah.
You have to really educate yourself because people need to realize they're there to sell news. They're not there to tell you the truth.
You're the chairperson of the Aldermanic Black Caucus, but I assume you also interact with all the other alderpersons.
Right.
Do you have an agenda? Do you contact them for any particular reasons? Or you just interact at all?
Yes, and you know what, Bernie, I'm glad you asked that because people ask me, how do you deal with the other people? I said one person at a time. And I make it clear, we're not going to always agree. I'm not going to lie to you because I can't remember, so I might as well tell the truth. And so I'm going to tell you where I'm coming from so you won't be blindsided and feel like, I didn't tell you what I was thinking.
Now, I know that you people meet on weekends, Fridays. Is the general public still allowed to come and visit the meeting since the pandemic?
Yes, they are. They can get on, because our meetings are YouTube, and so they can get on the Board of Aldermen via YouTube so they can, hear the meetings, and I encourage them to. And I'm proud of my community because we've been sending the links because we gathered an email base. So we've been sending the links to our community to say, be a part of this, hear what's going on, hear it firsthand. Don't wait on the newspapers or the media to tell you what's going on. You hear for yourself what's going on.
How did the pandemic impact you and your family and your community?
I'm proud to say my family, nobody has gotten it. Most of them have gotten the vaccine. My children has ensured that their father and myself got the vaccine, the first and second dose, and the booster. Nobody has been impacted by the pandemic as far as COVID. The only thing we're impacted is the separation, and that's the hard part.
Sure. Why are so many African Americans against the vaccine or afraid of the vaccine? Could you tell us that?
Same reason why they didn't fill out the census, because they don't trust. It's a trust issue in our community. It's a trust issue for the medical field. It's a trust issue for the census. And so our people have been disappointed and lied to so much. It's hard for them to trust. And so that's where I feel we as elected officials and community leaders have to start building that trust to let people know that it's okay, it's not going to impact you health-wise.
Mm-hmm. You're a natural leader and a teacher. Once again, could we get your phone number and so forth and how to reach you?
Yes, 314-229-6567. That's my cell. Or the office is 314-622-3287. And just leave a message and my secretary will get back with you.
And your email address?
boydp@713 stlouis.mo.gov.
What are some of the questions and some of the communications from your constituents who call you? What are they asking for?
They'll ask me to, perfect example, I had a lady call me and said, Alderwoman, the neighbor's tree fell on my property and it knocked out my air conditioning, knocked out my wires, and so I had to get forestry involved. So most of it are services, and so I always connect with forestry or refuge and street, and they'll take care of it for me.
That's great. Alderwoman Pam Boyd from the 27th Ward is my guest, and we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And very, very soon, Reverend Larry Rice will be celebrating 50 years of empowerment for those in need, 50 years of giving, 50 years of sharing. And we want to make you a part of that celebration also. And we'll be right back with Pam Boyd after this.
New Life Evangelistic Center is celebrating 50 years of God's faithfulness. For many of those years, Bernie Hayes has been a direct part of the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. I thank God for Bernie, his faithfulness, and how he is such a legend when it comes to broadcasting throughout the greater St. Louis area. Will you join Bernie and myself as we celebrate the 50 years of God's faithfulness? I want to involve you in the planning committee, for we got a lot of great things in store in 2022. Why don't you call us at 314-421-3020 and be a part of that committee, or go to www.newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. Will you celebrate the 50 years of God's faithfulness along with Bernie Hayes and myself and so many others throughout Mid-America? I know that the Lord has ministered to many of you through the work of New Life Evangelistic Center. We'd like to have you share your memories with us. So will you call us at 314-421-3020 or contact us at Come By 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri? Yes, we're celebrating God is faithful.
We'll return to our guest after this message about Richard Wright, writer and poet, born on September the 4th, 1908 in Roxy, Mississippi, and published his first story at the age of 16. In 1938, Wright published Uncle Tom's Children, a collection of 4 stories that mark a significant point in his career. The stories ended up winning him a $500 story magazine prize that led to the Guggenheim Fellowship. More acclaim followed in 1940 with the publication of his Native Son, which told the story of a 20-year-old African-American male, Bigger Thomas. The book brought Wright fame and freedom to write Black Boy. In 1945, Wright published Black Boy, which offered a moving account of his childhood and youth in the South. It also depicts extreme poverty in his accounts of racial violence against blacks. Black Boy. Wright died in Paris, France, November 28th, 1960. Richard Wright.
What does God want you to do as a Christian? He wants you to devote your entire life to loving Him, placing Him first in your life. And from that place of devotion and love, He wants you to love others and to serve them as you love yourself. This means loving the immigrant. This means loving the homeless panhandler. This means loving the criminal. This means loving your neighbor and your enemy equally. So love the Christian who's sitting in the pew next to you, no matter where they're at in life. Love the person in greater need by extending hospitality, grace, kindness, and love. Love with your actions, because that's what God requires of you. If you truly love God, you will love others well, recognizing that He loves you first.
And welcome back. My guest is the Alderwoman from the 27th Ward, City of St. Louis, Pam Boyd. Ms. Boyd, I asked you what was important to you and perhaps to your constituents, and that's the redistricting map. What are your concerns?
My concerns are that people, again, Bernie, they're listening to social media, and so they're not playing a part and the people in our community, I want them to really be have their voice heard. And so we've had tons of public hearings for people to speak. And again, they can contact the Board of Aldermen for that so they can get it, or the president's office. And so I just need them, just like other communities are constantly saying, don't split up our neighborhoods. Well, we don't want our neighborhoods split up because our neighborhoods have history also. And ironically, I don't think people realize our communities have more history than a lot of these other communities that are out here. And so I think it's powerful when our people come forth and they make their voices heard. And so it's back to them making the communication and making their voices heard to say, this is what we need in our community. And so the map is compacted. It's been a lot of work. I think people don't realize how much work we put into that. And so we're not meeting, when you see us once a week or twice a week, we're constantly in conversation daily with the president, with his staff, with other alder people, and the clerk to try to make sense, because this has never been done before. And so the way the maps used to be drawn is totally different from the way the maps are done now. And so it's census driven. That's our biggest issue. So we have to stay within the locality for civil rights and with the census. And so everybody has to understand we have to have 20,000 people per ward. And that's a challenge. And so that's where our challenges are.
This could be as destructive as urban renewal, especially to the African American community. Is that right?
Yes, it could. It could. And that's why I'm proud that we came out with 7 African American wards and 7 white wards. And so that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, we have the land. The African American communities, we have land to be developed. And so that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. We have to fight for what we have. I tell my residents, your land and your property is like gold. They want your property because you're 15 minutes from anywhere. So don't sell it. Hold on. Let's stand in this together to hold on to our communities.
Mm-hmm. And you may even be in jeopardy of losing your seat if this map goes through. How can people once again reach you and help you and support you?
They can call me 314-229-6567.
Would you say it, slow that down just a little bit more?
Okay, 314
Okay.
229-6567.
Okay.
Or the office at 314-622-3287.
And your email?
boydp@stlouis.mo.gov.
You know, it'd be a shame for me to have you here for 30 minutes and not ask you about your personal life. Could you tell us about your husband's name and some of your kids and grandkids?
I'll be honored to. My husband is Nathan Boyd, and I tell people that's my hero and my angel that was sent to me. And then I have a son, John Montgomery, and I have a daughter, Stacy Montgomery, and I have my baby, her name is Antoinette Cousins. People call her Tony. I have, like I said earlier, I have 9 grandchildren, and I have 1 great-grandchild. Okay.
And before we leave, why did you choose public service? Briefly.
You know what? I moved on the street. They stole my car 3 times in front of my house, and I said, I'm not living like this. And I just started as a lady in the neighborhood building a block unit. And it went from there, yeah.
Pam Boyd, I can't tell you how much I appreciate seeing you again and knowing you and knowing all the things you've done. I just want to say thank you, and please continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Bernie, for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
And I'd like to remind all those who are viewing us, too, that we're the New Life Evangelistic Center. Our address is 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, and we certainly would need your help and support. Bring by maybe a case of water or some clothing or some food to make sandwiches and some hygienic items. I'm Bernie Hayes. Have a great day. And please, if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. Have a great day.